Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is on how I bronze, contour, blush, and highlight today because in every single one of my videos I just kind of speed through this and don't really touch on it too much. So today I figured I would do an in-depth video showing you exactly how I do this and where I place things and why and everything like that. So please be sure to like and subscribe before you leave, and be sure to hit that post notification bell so that you get notified every single time that I upload. And if you would like to see how I bronze, contour, blush, and highlight, then just keep on watching. Alright, I'm using the Smashbox, the Cali Contour Kit, and I'm going to start off with the bronze shade on my Morphe JH02. So I like to use a real big fluffy brush like this when applying my bronzer. So I put that on there and then I'm going to tap off the excess. And you want to go from back right at like the top corner of the ear and in this way. You don't really come in further than here with your bronzer. So I like to go right through here with a big old brush just to really bronze up the skin. And then I also like to do just a little bit right in here, right at the hairline, just to add a little bit of color because I don't like when that looks blank right there. So I'm just adding in just a little bit of color right there. And we kind of bronze up almost the entire cheek area. Alright, so I'm going to do that exact same thing on the other side. So again, starting right over here. And then moving down on her cheek. But you don't want to come too far down because then that's going to create a shadow down here and you don't want that. So you want to stick in this region on the face with this brush. And then like I said, I do a little bit right here at the hairline. Okay, and then what I also like to do is I like to do a little bit right over here at my hairline up top, kind of leaving the center of the forehead blank. So I'm gonna move my hair back and go right here, and I apply it more on like the side of the brush when I do this part right here because that's just how I like to use this brush for this part. And this makes a huge difference with your bronzing. If you skip this part, you're not gonna look nearly as bronze. And I think it just kind of completes it all. So there's one side done. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And one thing you got to watch for is you don't want to go too heavy-handed in this area too, because if you're like me and you have fine hair, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb at that hairline if you go too harsh. Oh, I got a bristle in my hair. Okay, so now what I like to do is I like to put a little bit on the tip of the brush and do just a little bit right along the jawline, and then I just lightly blend that down. Alright, so now to contour, I'm going to use this same palette, but I'm going to use the contour shade, which is this one right here, and I'm going to use the Morphe JH05 brush. It looks like this. This is a really nice contour brush because it's not too dense, and I like when they're not too dense but also not too fluffy either, because if they're too fluffy it's going to disperse that product in a wider area. If it's too dense, it's going to put too much product in one area and then it's hard to blend out. So this is my favorite kind of brush for contouring. So I just applied that on the tip of the brush and then tapped off the excess. And now where I want to go with this is I want to go from the top of the ear. You want to imagine that there's an imaginary line going from the top of your ear towards the corner of your mouth. But I don't take it any further in than where the center of your eyeball is. So I don't want to come in any farther than right in here. So I start back here because you want the most amount of product to be at the edge of your face and then blending in. And then I blend upward. You don't want to blend downward. And again, I still take just a little bit up by that hairline. Just like that. So I don't do a whole lot, but you can see that that does make a big difference. And I like to use circular motions when buffing it out. And you can, of course, you know, if you're doing a more dramatic look, you can, of course, go a little heavier handed with the contour, but I'm doing something a little bit more natural today, so I don't want to go too heavy handed. So then I take just a little bit, and I like to go right here at the edge of the hairline as well, just to lightly contour those areas and make my forehead look a little smaller. Alright, and then again, I take just a little bit, and I mostly go on the chin area to contour that out. But I do lightly blend it all the way back to the jawline, and then just lightly drag that down so to make sure that it's all blended. Alright, so then I move into blush, and I'm just going to use the blush in this palette, which is this one right here. And I'm going to be using the Morphe JH04. This is a awesome blush brush because it's not too dense, but it's also not too fluffy that you're going to put too much product all over the place. Because for me personally, I have a very small face, so having something a little bit smaller but fluffy is fantastic. So with blush, you want to start back here. You want to go in kind of this region and then come down through here to the apples of the cheeks. So you want to start towards the temples and then come down, and I kind of use slight circular motions when applying this, and then I'll sometimes brush it on like this. But I do use a little bit of both. I like to use more brushing right in here because I don't want the apple to be too harsh. I want the majority of the product to be back in here. So and again, you also don't want to take this too low either. Keep this higher up where the bronzer and the contour is, because if you take it too low, it's going to shadow this area of the face and it's going to not be flattering on your face shape. So again, starting up towards the temples, and then we're lightly blending down towards the apples of the cheeks. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the face before I highlight, and I like doing this because it makes the highlight look very wet on the skin and kind of sink into the skin and not look as much like it's sitting on top of the skin. So I'm going to use the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist to set the face really quick. And then for highlight today, I'm going to use the Ofra Rodeo Drive, which is this one right here, and my Morphe JH09. And then what I learned, I think it was Shay Mitchell's makeup artist where I learned this from, and it makes so much sense. So when you highlight, I used to highlight like right up here, right on where I would think the top of the cheekbone is, and I think a lot of us do. But what he had said, and it makes so much sense, is you want to highlight where the high point is when you smile. So if you smile, the high point's right here versus all the way up here. So that's where I'm going to highlight, is that it's almost on top of that blush. So right here, where that's really going to make a difference when I smile, and that's going to hit the light. And then I like to drag just a little bit up around the brow just to highlight that as well when you smile. So again, just kind of on top of the blush a little bit, right at where you're going to hit that high point. And you can of course apply as little or as much highlight as you would like, and I don't bring it too far in, and that is because I have oily skin. If you are a little drier, you can of course bring it onto the apples of the cheeks a little bit more too to highlight that as well. But because I'm oily, that does not flatter well on my skin throughout the day, but use your own judgment there. So now what I'm going to do is I take a little bit on that brush and I like to highlight the Cupid's bow as well. So I just lightly tap it right here to highlight that. Alright you guys, this is it. All other products that I have on my face will be in the description box down below on this video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you again in my next one. Bye!